Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you a recipe from a very popular food chain called First Watch. Now, what's the recipe? Why, it's their chicken, kale, and quinoa power bowl. It's absolutely fabulous. Now, you may or may not have heard of First Watch, depending on where you live in the United States, but they do have 330 locations, and there's several here in Florida. I know that they have locations in Ohio, Texas, Colorado, and Arizona. So I'm sure there's other locations out there. If you have one in your state, please leave a comment below. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Now, First Watch is a brunch place, so they do breakfast and they do lunch. They're also a scratch kitchen, meaning they make everything from scratch on the daily right there on premises. So their food is excellent. It's a lot of clean, whole foods. Really, really great. They do their own healthy versions of a whole bunch of different dishes. They have their classic breakfast and lunch dishes as well, but they put their own little spin on it. It really is an absolutely fabulous place. Now, I love this recipe because it has chicken and quinoa, roasted tomatoes, kale, a little bit of carrot, feta crumbles, and it's kind of brought all together with a lemony basil pesto dressing. Now, my recipe is pretty much the restaurant's recipe. It's almost exact. The only difference is the restaurant uses two different dressings. They use a lemon balsamic dressing as well as the basil pesto. I don't do the lemon balsamic dressing. I just incorporate some lemon juice and zest into the dish, and you get that great lemony flavor still with the basil pesto, but actually with less calories. So not only is this dish really healthy and flavorful, but it's pretty simple too. So, enough talking. Let's get cooking. Let's start by cutting up 1 pound of chicken tenders into bite-sized pieces, about 1-inch cubes, like this. Next, we'll season it with some salt and pepper to taste. And then we'll just mix it to coat it evenly. And then we're going to just put that aside for a second because we're going to start the broth for our quinoa. So here I have a small saucepan. I put my heat up to medium, and I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken broth to the pot. And then I'll cover it to help bring it to a simmer. Now, while we're waiting for that to come up to a simmer, let's start our chicken. So I put my heat on medium, and I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of chicken broth to the pan. And we're going to gently poach our chicken chunks in chicken broth. It should only take about 4 to 5 minutes. So once it starts to simmer, put the chicken in the pan. Don't crowd it. Move it around so it has plenty of space. Then we're going to cover it with a tight-fitting lid for about 2 minutes. So while that is poaching, our chicken broth for our quinoa has come up to a simmer. So here I have tricolored quinoa. We're going to add 1 cup to our 2 cups of chicken broth. So pour that in, give it a stir, put a lid on, and lower the heat slightly so it doesn't boil too hard. That's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. Now back to our chicken. It's been 2 minutes, so let's turn that over. Just move it around. And then we'll put the lid back on and cook it for another 2 to 3 minutes. Here about 3 minutes have gone by, so I'm going to check a piece of chicken and make sure it's cooked. And it is perfectly cooked. So we'll shut that off and remove the chicken, put it in a bowl, and set it to the side. Let's start working on our little cherry tomatoes. So here I have 1/2 cup. I'm just going to halve them. And then I'm going to throw them in my air fryer on roast at about 375 for just like 4 or 5 minutes, just to soften and roast the cherry tomatoes. I'll add a little bit of salt to taste just to season them lightly. So now let's just pop that into our air fryer. While those are cooking, I'm going to zest and then juice 1 lemon. Okay, so here's the zest. Now we'll just cut that in half and juice it. Okay, so now that we're done juicing and zesting the lemon, let's just put that to the side and chuck on our tomatoes. They have softened or roasted nicely, so I'm just gonna put those in a little dish and set those to the side. Let's check on our quinoa. It is nice and fluffy and perfectly cooked. It's been about 20 minutes, so we'll shut that off. Put the lid back on and just move it to the side. And back to our pan. Put the heat on medium. Next, we're gonna add 1/4 cup of chicken broth to the pan because we're gonna steam our kale and carrots. So here I have some already washed chopped kale. I'm gonna add 2 big handfuls or 2 cups of kale to the pan, and then I'm gonna season it lightly with some salt. And then just put the lid on, steam that for about a minute. Now we're gonna add our shredded carrot, about 1/2 cup, and toss that in, mix it around, and then we're gonna put the lid back on. And steam that for another minute or 2. So while our carrot and kale are steaming, I'm gonna take some store-bought basil pesto. This is Rainer brand, I really like it. It tastes great. I'm gonna use 1/4 cup, add that to a little mixing bowl, and to that I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of some half and half. It kind of just lightens it a little and makes it nice and creamy. And then to that, I'm gonna add some lemon juice. Here I'm adding 2 tablespoons, stir that in, mix it well, and then give it a taste. See if it's lemony enough for you. For me, it's not, so I'm gonna add another tablespoon of lemon juice and mix that in. And that's it. Let's set that to the side. Now our carrot and kale mixture is cooked all the way through and the chicken stock has evaporated completely. So now let's add our quinoa to that. Now just mix that all together. Next, we'll add our lemon zest and mix that in. And then to that, we're gonna add our chicken chunks. Just toss that in, stir that up. And here we have those beautiful roasted tomatoes, add those. And here I have some feta. We're gonna add about 1/4 cup to the quinoa dish. Just break it up if you bought the block like I did. And then finally, our beautiful basil lemon pesto sauce. Drizzle that over the top. You don't have to use all of it, or you can use all of it, whatever you like. Look how beautiful. Now let's plate it and taste it. Okay, here it is, guys, our first watch, Copycat chicken and kale quinoa power bowl. And it looks really pretty. Can't wait to taste. That's fabulous. That tender chicken with that nutty, crunchy pop from the quinoa, the roast tomato, kale, and carrot with that beautiful lemon pesto sauce, and of course the feta, all comes together. It really is a yummy and healthy dish. Well, I hope you guys try and enjoy this recipe. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video and share with your family and friends. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on anything. And as always, guys, until next time,